Okay. He says you're good to go.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's primary forum hosted by the Christian County Republican Party and the Christian County Young Republicans. My name is Matt McGowan. Before we get started, I'd like to thank the city for allowing us to use the council chambers tonight and for Daryl for assisting with setup and helping us get through the segment tonight. In this segment, we will have the Republican primary candidate for City Council Ward 3. As Mr. Marsh is running unopposed in his primary, we will do an opening statement followed by a couple questions and then a closing statement. So Mr. Marsh, 2 minutes for your opening statement, please.
Okay, thank you. Number one, I just want to thank the Republican Party of Christian County for sponsoring the debates in the the young people of the Republican Party in Christian County. It's an awesome time to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come and introduce myself really until the November election, until the general election. I don't have an opponent, so I just want to take time to introduce myself. My name is Don Marsh, and I am a candidate for the City Council seat in Ward 3. And my wife and I, Kathy, came to Hopkinsville about 5 years ago. I was born in Versailles. I'm a native-born Kentuckian, grew up here my whole life, went to school here, and then just ministry and life called us away. We were in Hampton Roads, Virginia for 35 years, and now we're been back home for about 5 years. So we're just thrilled to be here and carry a burden for the constituents, the folks, the people, our neighbors that live in Hopkinsville, especially in Ward 3, because there are some real needs in Ward 3 that should be addressed by the city and the city council. And so we're here to represent each of them. And I've been around and met many of them in Ward 3 already, so it's a tremendous blessing to be with them. So.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. We'll move on to our first question.
Thank you.
How would you balance the desires of your constituents with voting based on principle or personal conviction?
Well, we live in a nation that's already governed by code and law, and so all of it, we don't need less law right now. We need more law right now. We need more law and order, and to just serve the people who are in my ward and the constituents of the city. Yes, I have convictions. I think probably most folks know, but if they don't, I'll introduce myself as the pastor of Westview Assembly of God on Pyle Lane. And so, those values of God and country are very, very precious to all of us. And, I will balance my convictions with the rule of law to see how we can best serve the citizens in a conservative way. If I have an opportunity to talk with folks and tell them one thing that I'll promise to them, and that is this: I promise to work with my influence to spend their money as conservatively as possible and waste as little of it as possible. One little example. In walking through Ward 3 already, I noticed several places in streets that were just severely undercut by drainage and things like that. I just made a couple of calls to some of our city council members, and they've been working already because the city has already started to address some of those issues. So I want to thank them. But those are the kinds of things we need to do. We need to work. Everybody that sits around this table gets paid, and we don't get paid for looking pretty. We get paid for representing the people who are in our wards. So we expect we're going to go out there and do some work, once we get onto this council. And the people who are here, in all fairness, that may sound a little condescending, the people who are here, they work hard. And so we want to continue to join together with them to make sure that we get that done. That's been proven to me that somebody's working hard because those issues are already being addressed in Ward 3. And I'm thankful for those folks that have those issues that they're facing.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. We'll move on to our second question. What makes you the most qualified candidate for this position?
Well, I believe that, especially in light of the societal changes that we've seen and the governmental changes that we've seen, I think I'm the best qualified candidate to run for this office because I'm the most conservative. I'm the one that's going to represent the real desire of the majority of the people that I believe live in Ward 3. And Ward 3 is a very, very diverse ward. And so whether, you are Republican or Democrat, you still live, you still pay taxes, you still have to drive in the streets, you still have drainage issues, those kinds of things. And so I intend to address those in the very best, most conservative way we can and not waste money, not waste the people's money. We don't need to be spending money on things like bribing people to take a vaccination. I consider, this may be a simplistic answer, why don't we take money like that and go out and patch some potholes, So those kinds of decisions are decisions I think the average citizen is going to make. It's common sense. Why am I the best qualified? Because I believe I am the common sense conservative candidate in this race.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh.
Sure.
And moving on to your closing statement.
Okay. Thank you again for letting me come. All of our lives, we have lived conservatively, and God has blessed us incredibly. My wife and I, we're not rich, but God has provided for us in a great way. We've had an opportunity to be in places all around the world that reinforce to us we really are very, very blessed. And we want to continue that. I ask for the votes of the people of the city of Hopkinsville, Ward 3, all the other wards in the general election, because I want to see the city of Hopkinsville continue to flourish and to represent them in a conservative way and pass our heritage on to the generation past me. Every generation is responsible for helping and passing along a heritage to the next generation, and I feel that responsibility right now. So I ask for your vote, and thank you for allowing me to come tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh.
Yeah.
And that concludes our forum for Ward 3. Please stay tuned for our forum in Ward 4. And as always, don't forget to exercise your constitutional right to vote on May 17th. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.